Hey everybody. Today we are finally going to be going over my vinyl collection. I've been wanting to do this for a really long time, so I'm very happy I'm going to be able to do it today. I'm in a new house now, so yeah. I feel like this is a little bit better of a space to record this in. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but so yeah, let's just get started. First off, I have a very old copy of Toys in the Attic by Aerosmith. I'm not a huge Aerosmith fan, but I was just given this. And I mean, I like the album, it's still a pretty good album, but I just don't listen to classic rock quite as much as I used to growing up. Still a pretty good album though. Here we have a copy of Knife Man by AJJ. I'm a pretty big AJJ fan, and I saw this online and I wanted to get it because it has a really cool colored vinyl. Look at that, it's kind of cool, right? Yeah, I don't know, I thought it looked really cool, and I really like the album, it's a great album. Next, we got Merriweather Post Pavilion. I have it on vinyl, I saw it, had to get it. I still love this thing, it has a pretty cool inside, look at that. Definitely one of my favorite psychedelic albums still. Here we got Hospice by the Antlers. One of the most absolutely crushing albums I've ever heard, besides some of like the Microphones and Mount Eerie stuff, but like, I loved this album when I first heard it, but recently I've been coming back to it a little bit more, and I forgot how good it is. And this is also the, I think the 10th anniversary edition of it. It has white vinyl. Nothing crazy, just white vinyl, but still such a good album. It's one of those albums that just really hits my soul and my heart. I have two Arctic Monkeys albums. This should be in alphabetical order. If it's not, I'm just dumb. But we have their debut album, Whatever People Say, and That's What I'm Not, and also an underrated record that I actually really like, Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino. Two completely different albums, but I genuinely think this is a bit of an underrated one. I don't know, I like it quite a bit. Pretty cool picture of Alex Turner if the glare wasn't there. There you go. The debut is probably my favorite Arctic Monkeys album though. Already on to the B's, we have Band of Horses, which is one of my favorite indie rock bands growing up. And I still love them too. This is their album, Everything All the Time. If you haven't heard of this band and you like indie rock, it's just so pretty and like nostalgic sounding. I love it. And I also have their sophomore album, Cease to Begin. Another good one. I like the debut more, but this is still a very good one. Here we got a very old copy of Endless Summer by the Beach Boys. I'm not a huge Beach Boys fan, but I'm glad I have this just because, I don't know, I feel like they're kind of essential. Pretty cool inside artwork. Next up we got Beach House, which is probably my favorite dream pop band. I want to get all their albums on vinyl, but this is my personal favorite Beach House album, Depression Cherry. Just gorgeous front to back. I also have their latest record, Once Twice Melody. I got this when I saw them live earlier this year. Really love this record, and it's crazy how consistent they are. I don't know, they haven't really put out a bad album in my opinion. Out of what, the 8 albums they have or whatever. Next up we got the Beatles. I got the white album with, what do you know, white vinyl. I don't know what my favorite Beatles album is, but this is maybe it? I don't know. It's hard to choose. And I also have a reissue of Magical Mystery Tour. It's like a kind of glossy thing going for it. It's a little bit more prone to reflection. I don't know why specifically I have this one, but I actually do really like this record. I know it's not the most praised Beatle album, but I still like it quite a bit. Here we have For the First Time by Black Country New Road. I still cannot get over how much I love this band. I'm just so happy to say I have this on vinyl just because it's personally one of my probably favorite albums ever at this point. And also, speaking of, I have their sophomore album, Ants From Up There, which is maybe better. It's so hard to choose. I mean, I know I did a reaction to this album, but I got this. I think I pre-ordered this. It's awesome. I love all the artwork. And, oh my god, that was scary. And yeah, I mean, the emotional weight of this album. It's not an album I put on like all the time just because of how sad it can get sometimes, but I still think both of these albums are some of my favorite albums ever. Next we have another band from the windmill scene, Black Midi. Probably one of my favorite bands ever at this point. Here we got Schlagenheim. I've played this album so many times. Like, I kind of got into Black Midi right around when Cavalcade was released, but this is the album that kind of sparked my love for them. I love their artwork. All their album covers are so unique, cool. I have Schlagenheim, and I also have Cavalcade. This album's awesome as well. I think I like Schlagenheim ever so slightly more. Still very cool. Still a great album. And my personal favorite of Black Midi stuff, we got their latest record, Hellfire. I pre-ordered this. I wanted it so bad. I was ready. And I'm so glad I pre-ordered this thing because it's probably second place in terms of my favorite albums of the year, but it was genuinely so close because this album is so awesome. I come back to it all the time. It also comes with red vinyl, pretty cool. But yeah, I'm so excited to see what this band does next. I will definitely be keeping up with all their vinyl. Here we got Cage the Elephant. We're moving on to the C's, I think. Yeah, I have quite a bit of C's, but Cage the Elephant's the first one. I think this is a pretty underrated record, and I got this when I saw them live a while ago on the tour for this album. Kind of cool. Next up here we got Car Seat Headrest. Yeah, I really like this band. This album's so great. Like, this is, besides Twin Fantasy, my favorite Car Seat Headrest album, and I also really love the inside here, where it shows all the lyrics. And you also got this dude staring at you. But yeah, great album. And I don't have Twin Fantasy, sadly. I've been trying to find it, and I just don't know where to find it. If anyone knows where Twin Fantasy is, let me know. I would be very happy to get it. But I also have Making a Door Less Open. And also what's really interesting about the vinyl version of this album is, one, the order is different, and two, Deadlines is a completely different track on the vinyl version only than it is on Spotify, which is kind of weird. It's kind of a good and a bad thing for me because it's cool to have something unique on the vinyl version, but I also really love both of the versions that are on Spotify, Deadline's Thoughtful and Hostile or whatever. But yeah, it's still pretty cool. Next up, we got one of my favorite albums of last year, Voyager by Current Joys. I love everything Nick Radigan does. Like, I don't know why, I love his voice, and he really brings a lot of emotion to the table. This album, yeah, one of my favorites from last year. And it also has a very cool dark purple on the vinyl. There you go, yeah. Kind of hard to see, but I think you can kind of see it. D's, we have David Bowie. Love David Bowie, always have, always will. This is, I feel like, an essential album. I grew up with this album a lot too, mainly with like Moon Age Daydream and Starman and all that. I also have Low, which is my second favorite. This is my favorite. This is my second favorite, probably. I would like to get more Bowie stuff on vinyl in the future, but these are the two I have right now. Here we have one of my personal favorites in my entire collection, Emergency and I by Dismemberment Plan. If you haven't heard this album, please do yourself a favor and hear this album. I saw this at one of the record stores I go to, and I've just never seen vinyl copies of this anywhere for some reason, and it was a little pricey, but it's just one of those albums I had to get. Cool inside artwork there. But yeah, I love this album. Like, I could sing along to most of the songs on this album. Here we have Waiting for the Sun by The Doors. This is my only Doors record. I like it. I like The Doors. Used to be a little bit of a bigger fan of them than I am now, but I still really appreciate them, and this is a pretty good album. I think they have better. This is a pretty good one. Next up, we have The Garden. Yeah, I really like The Garden. Just some bangers. It's a fun album. I just think The Garden, they're really fun. They don't take anything too seriously, and they're just screaming a lot and making some bangers. This album's good, but this is my personal favorite from them. Kiss My Super Bowl Ring. I think this came out in 2020. Like, this one is like sort of crazy. This one is chaos, like, ooh. So noisy, pretty punky. I like it. Okay, this next one is another one of my personal favorites in my collection. Here we have Projector by Geese. If you have not heard this album and you like post-punk, indie rock, whatever, please, like, I've been trying to tell more people about this album just because I feel like no one talks about it, and it's so good. I saw this on Rough Trade, and it's a yellow copy. Ooh, yellow. But I saw this on Rough Trade, and I'm like, take my money. This is like one of my most played albums recently, especially. It's just, the song Fantasies Survival, probably one of my favorite songs ever, at least right now. It's such a banger. But yeah, highly recommend these guys. I really hope they get the attention they deserve, and I also am really excited to see where they go after this album, because this is their first album. Next up, we have an album I've reacted to, Lift Your Skinny Fists, Like Antennas to Heaven by Godspeed. I mean, come on. It's one of those albums that feels like it should be played on vinyl, so, I had to. Nothing crazy with the packaging, but it's pretty bulky. There's also, oh wait, there actually is some weird artwork. Like, look, what's going on here? Like, every time I look at this image, it takes me a second to process what's actually going on, and I still don't really fully know. What's also kind of funny is there's like a bunch of like serious, like, oh, the world's gonna explode, ah! And then there's like a picture of a cat. Alright, this next group is a band I really like, and I'm really sad this is the only album I have on vinyl because I want way, way more from them, but it's Gorillaz with The Now Now. I think this album gets more hate than it deserves. I know a lot of people were like, oh, it's boring. Which, I mean, again, that's understandable, but I really like the smooth vibe. It's really nice to put on when you're like just studying or working on something. I find the songs to be really catchy and memorable, so I don't know. I really like this album, and I really want more Gorillaz vinyl because they're one of my favorite groups, probably. This one is The Man Who Died in His Boat by Grouper. I really like Grouper, but believe it or not, I have not heard this album yet. I bought it because I was looking for Grouper albums at my record store, and they didn't have Alien Observer or Dragging a Dead Deer Up a Hill, which are my two favorite Grouper albums. But they had this one, and I'm like, well, it's probably gonna be good, so I'll let you know what I think maybe if, you know, once I play it. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. Turn on the Bright Lights by Interpol. One of my favorite albums of the 2000s. That's all I have to say, really. It's just, I love it. Okay, so growing up, I was a huge, huge fan of Jack White, and I still really like Jack White. So I have a lot of Jack White stuff, but this is his debut album, Blunderbuss. It's probably, maybe my favorite album from him? I don't know. I also really like his new one, but grew up with this album, still love this album. Also have Lazaretto, which is his sophomore album. I like this one slightly less, but there's still tons of bangers on it. And I also have his latest record, or actually, technically not his latest record because he released another one after this, but Fear of the Dawn. He always puts a lot of care into his vinyl packaging, which is pretty cool. I always found that to be awesome, because there's Lazaretto, you literally play it backwards. It's crazy. It's interesting. There's a lot of care put into the vinyl packaging, and I like that. And I also have an acoustic recordings kind of like compilation, which is actually really, really cool. I find it really awesome. There's the sexy man himself. Here we have one of my favorite albums ever, Grace by Jeff Buckley. Beautiful voice, beautiful songwriting. It sucks that he passed away the way he did, and I mean, he had so much talent, and I think he was even working on a second album, but really love this album, and I think it's up there with some of my favorites ever. Next up we got King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. I only have 2 records, but I want to get more, although it's gonna feel impossible to get everything considering they release a new album every 5 seconds. We have Polygon Wonderland? I think Polygon Wonderland. I think that's what it is. Their vinyl is always so cool. Like, they always have the coolest pressings. Like, look at this. Freaking awesome. Looks like a beach ball. This is one of my personal favorite Gizzard records, probably. And I also have Murder of the Universe, which has an even cooler vinyl. Because it's like, I think when I got it, it said Vomit Splatter, and yeah, it looks right. This is kind of a random one, but it's pretty cool. The Percy soundtrack by the Kinks. I really like this because it's a picture disc. Super duper cool looking. I find that to be so awesome. Zoom in on the crotch. Here we have another potential favorite band of mine, LCD Soundsystem. I have all of their albums, so self-titled, pretty good one. It's a good start for their stuff, but then you have my favorite, Sound of Silver. I love this little thing of James Murphy right there. And it also trips me up how it's sideways, but it's also not sideways. Like, technically it should be like this, but it's not. The song, All My Friends, is definitely up there with some of my favorite songs ever. I know I probably say that a lot, but genuinely that one is. And after that we have This Is Happening. I'm holding it upside down. There you go. Another cool gatefold. Pretty awesome looking. This one's a close second in terms of favorites to Sound of Silver. And last but not least, American Dream. I really like this one. I know some people were a little bit conflicted on it, but I think it's great. How Do You Sleep is probably one of my favorite LCD songs. Alright, here's a very old copy of Physical Graffiti by Led Zeppelin. I'm not really too into Led Zeppelin anymore, but they were one of the first bands I really got into, and I still like this album, so I think it's probably their best. Here's Mac DeMarco with Here Comes the Cowboy. Not my favorite Mac DeMarco album, but there's still some good songs on it. There's our boy. He hasn't released an album in a while. I hope he does. because I miss him. I miss his jams. Here is sadly one of my only hip-hop records. I'm still trying to get into more hip-hop, which I thankfully am. I'm excited to hear more, but Food by MF Doom. Definitely up there with one of my favorites. It's just so clever, funny, well-written. And also, this copy is really cool because it has different colored vinyls. We got a green vinyl here and a pink one right here. So yeah, I think I saw this on their website or whatever, but I'm glad I got this one because it's a great album. Okay, here. This is probably my favorite part of my entire collection. Maybe, I don't know, I said that a lot already, but these albums are very, very near and dear to my heart. And that's because it's the Microphones and Mount Eerie. If you don't know already, I am a huge, huge fan of the Microphones and just Phil Elverum stuff. And I'm still working on getting everything from him, starting with It Was Hot We Stayed in the Water. When I first heard this album, I thought it was pretty good, but I love it now. And I think the song The Glow is probably one of his best songs. Pretty neat looking on the inside. I've really grown to appreciate this one, so I'm very happy I have it. And then we got Mount Eerie by the Microphones. Really tribalistic album, very existential. It's great. I love it. Really awesome artwork here. It technically was the last Microphones album until this one, which is the Microphones in 2020. This is, besides The Glow Part 2, my favorite Microphones album. I don't have The Glow Part 2, and it's my favorite album of all time. Okay, literally the day after I filmed this video, Phil Elverum represses The Glow Part 2, and I ordered it, and it's on its way. I have never been more excited in my life. But right now, we got this one. And this one is so good. It's one song, 43 minutes. He pretty much just talks about his entire life, and it's beautiful. Seriously, like, one of my favorite albums ever. Another one. Phil's songwriting, for some reason, just, it does something to me. The first time I ever heard it was actually on vinyl as well, because I wanted to experience it like that, but yeah. And also, I never realized how cool this album cover is, but you'd think that this is the right way, but no, you flip it upside down. This is the right way, because you know, there he is. That's him, but when you flip it this way, this is the reflection, even though it doesn't look like it. It's so cool. Moving on to his other project, Mount Eerie, we have No Flashlight, which is a pretty good one. I like this one. It's good. Pretty cool inside here. I really love how he went into a more environmentally themed direction with this project, because for some reason I just love that topic. I think it's such a great writing topic, and it's perfect with just the soundscapes and atmospheres he makes. We also have Wind's Poem here. This one is a very up and down in terms of like chaotic, then chill, then chaotic, but I think it's pretty cool. And also, this one has clear vinyl. Yeah, you can still see me a little. I really like this one. I'm slowly trying to inch my way to get all of the Microphones albums and Mount Eerie stuff, because he has it all on his website, except for The Glow Part 2, because it's sold out. And I also, last one, have Clear Moon, last one of Phil stuff. This one's also clear. Ooh. This is my favorite Mount Eerie album, for sure. This one, Clear Moon. I also forgot to mention on Wind Speaks, this one, or Wind's Poem, I keep getting that mixed up. Wind's Poem, the song Through the Trees is my favorite Mount Eerie song. And this is my favorite Mount Eerie album as a whole. So yeah, I really like this guy. Maybe just a little bit. It's really sad a lot of the time, but it's just beautiful. It's just so unique and so interesting, and yeah, I don't know. I love it. All right, continuing through the M's. Origin of Symmetry by Muse. Muse was another band I grew up with. Nothing too crazy on the inside here, but yeah. Still, banger album. New Muse, we could talk, that's a different discussion. Here we got both Nevermind and Bleach from Nirvana. I don't have In Utero, but another band I grew up with, pretty cool. Okay, this is kind of a funny one. Dead Man's Party by Oingo Boingo. Thank you, Dad, for getting me hooked on Oingo Boingo, I guess. Yeah, they're a fun group. Also, I love the album cover, like, come on, that's pretty cool. This one is Wolfgang Amadeus Phoenix by Phoenix. Another album I grew up with. I fucking love this album. So many catchy, memorable, fun indie rock songs. Okay, Pink Floyd. I'm wearing the shirt right now. We got it. Very, very, very old copy of Dark Side of the Moon. Literally, like, it's falling apart. Also, I'm holding it backwards and upside down. See, look at that. It's literally falling out of the bottom. That sucks. But it's a very old copy. It still works though. And I mean, it is a good album. I like it. Another one of the first bands I got into. But I think Pink Floyd hold up a little bit more for me than Led Zeppelin and other classic rock bands. I also have Wish You Were Here. This is a newer copy. Yeah, and this is a good one. And I also have The Wall. Ooh. My personal favorite Pink Floyd album is Animals, and I don't have that one. But I will hopefully get it at some point. Okay, this is a band that a friend of mine really, really loves, and they got me into them, but it is a band called Prince Daddy and the Hyena. Cosmic Thrill Seekers. This is a really fun album. Love this album, love this band, just because it reminds me of a lot of good times. Cool thing here, but it's kind of hard to show. Also, the vinyl's kind of cool, because it's like a picture disc, sort of. This one also has a really cool poster that I don't want to take out right now. I'll throw it up here if I remember, but I have some... I have some stuff by Queen. I have Hot Space? Yeah, Hot Space, Jazz, and News of the World, I believe? Yeah, News of the World. The thing is that I don't really like Queen. I used to like Queen, and now I just, for some reason, am tired of them. But I have these vinyls, so... Next up, we have another one of my favorite bands, which is Queens of the Stone Age. Here we have Songs to the Deaf. Love this album. Banger. One of the loudest albums I've ever heard. Dave Grohl's drumming on it, so it's instantly cool to some degree. I also have Era Vulgaris, which I think is a bit of an underrated Queens of the Stone Age album. Also got Like Clockwork, which is probably my personal favorite. It's really close between this one and Songs for the Deaf. Also got Helpless Stranger by the Raconteurs, another Jack White project. I saw them right before the pandemic in 2019, I think. And yeah, I like them. They're cool. And this album's pretty good. It's not my favorite thing in the world, but it's a good album. And again, I really like Jack White, so. All right. I don't know if y'all are ready for this. Okay, here we go. This is my Radiohead vinyl. For the longest time, Radiohead is one of my favorite bands. They still are one of my favorite bands. I just don't listen to them quite as much as I did because there was a very large period of my life where I listened to them. Still love them though, of course. And yeah, let's just go through this. So here we got Pablo Honey. I even have this album, yes. I don't think I've ever listened to it, but I just have it because I guess I wanted to be a Radiohead completionist. We also got The Bends, better than Pablo Honey. I think most of us can agree there, hopefully. OK Computer, essential. It's OK Computer, come on. Then we got, it's upside down, Kid A. I think the inside of this one's way cooler. This might be my favorite Radiohead album, I don't know. It's like, it's switched between literally like A Moon-Shaped Pool, In Rainbows, Kid A, OK Computer, Hail to the Thief. It's switched between all of those at some point. I can never decide. Then we got Amnesiac, Kid A Part 2 pretty much. Then we got Hail to the Thief. Okay, you know what? This is not the best Radiohead album, but it's probably my favorite, if that makes sense. I'd say maybe Kid A is the best, but I think I come back to this one more in terms of, I don't know, for some reason. In Rainbows, yep, got this one too. Again, this might be my second favorite, I don't know, but it's a great one. It's beautiful. King of Limbs, pretty good one. Not my favorite Radiohead album, but it's a pretty good one. And A Moon-Shaped Pool, which has a very cool inside gatefold. So yeah, I have every Radiohead album, but I'm not done. I also have the It Might Be Wrong live recording from right after when they released Amnesiac, holding it the wrong way. Pretty cool inside. And I'm still not done. I'm still not. We also have the single that came out either after or before The King of Limbs, Super Collider and The Butcher. I think I got this off Amazon. I don't know why I got it really. Maybe it's just because I was that much of a completionist. I actually do really like the song Super Collider. I think that's an awesome Radiohead song. So yeah, that's all my Radiohead stuff. We're done with that now. Oh my god, that took way longer than it should have to put all this back. Rolling Stones with their Satanic Majesty's Request, I think. I don't even think I've listened to this album on vinyl before, but I got it forever ago for some reason, so I have it. Don't ask. Here we got the Sex Pistols. Never mind the Bollocks, he's the Sex Pistols. Pretty cool album. It's a punk album, classic punk album. Oh, hell yeah. I love this album. Drunk Tank Pink by Shame. I know I've talked about this album before, but it's so good. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Very, very, very happy to have this one. Also has a pretty nice lyric sheet with some cool images stuff. Yeah, really great post-punk record. I was supposed to see them literally on Halloween. I was supposed to see them with Viagra Boys, and they canceled, and I'm really sad about it. It was gonna be so good, but it's okay. Hopefully they tour again. Got a Simon and Garfunkel record that doesn't stay in the bottom apparently. Right here we have Spoon. If you don't know Spoon, they're a very, very important band to me. I grew up with them. And I have a very strong connection with my dad with their music and stuff like that. So yeah, I love their stuff. So here's their album Girls Can Tell, great one. Give Me Fiction, another really, really good one. This one has like a lot of the ones that I just hit the nostalgia mark for me. Got their 2007 album, Ga 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 Ga. Yeah, I think this is their most popular one probably. And then skip forward a bunch of years because I don't have a lot of their vinyl after that for some reason, and I wish I did, but it's okay. But this one is 2017, Hot Thoughts. Another really good one. This is probably my second favorite Spoon album, maybe? No, third favorite, yeah. This is their latest record. Came out this year, Lucifer on the Sofa. Really awesome vinyl too. Looks super sick. All vinyl should just be this cool. This isn't my favorite Spoon album, but I still think it's a pretty good one. It's just awesome they're still making music because they've made, I think, 9 albums, 10 albums, something, since 1999, I think. The Strokes. Huge Strokes fan. No other way to put it. I'm a huge Strokes fan. So I have Is This It? Of course. Classic. Amazing album, love it, love it, love it. Then we got Room on Fire. This one never really clicked with me as much as Is This It, but a lot later it did. Now I love it, so yeah. Then we got Angles, which I feel like is a pretty underrated one. And besides Is This It, this is my favorite Strokes album, which is the new Abnormal. And by the way, I don't know if I'm just passing the word along, but Rick Rubin said he was working on another album with them. So that's hype as hell. I'm so excited to hear what they have planned for the next record. As you can probably tell, I am a pretty big post-punk guy. So I also have Bright Green Field by Squid. Another one of my favorite albums of last year. I love this album, and this band is so fun. Super, super excited to see what they do after this one, because this is their only album. Still very, very awesome band though. I definitely come back to this one a lot. I think they're from the Windmill scene with Black Mini and Black Country New Road. They're probably my least favorite of the 3, but still very, very, very good. And we got some Talking Heads stuff here. This is more songs about buildings and food, I think? Yeah, I think so. And this has a red vinyl. Pretty cool. And also have Speaking in Tongues, which is, I think, a bit better. I don't have Remain in Light, but that one's also really great. Here we got The Slow Rush by Tame Impala. My only Tame Impala album on vinyl, for some reason. This is probably my least favorite Tame Impala album, but it's still pretty good. Still some really cool songs. And this is a green copy, I believe. Yeah, dark green. Again, a little bit hard to see, but you can kind of see it. Also, pretty cool artwork here. I like the sand flooding into the room. Here we got another project with Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age, Them Crooked Vultures. I don't know how many people know about this or talk about it or what, but if you like Queens of the Stone Age, even remotely listen to this. It's so good, and I really wish they made another album after this one, but I don't think they are, which kind of sucks. This came out in 2007, I believe, so a while ago. But man, it's so good. The only Tool vinyl I have is Opiate. I think I just saw this at a cheaper price, and I was like, I like Tool, I'll get this, so I got it, and it's good. I need to get their other albums though, because they have way better. Okay, we're nearing the end here. I've been recording for what, hour and a half? But here we have The Eraser by Thom Yorke. As you know, I'm a Radiohead fan, so gotta have this. And I really enjoyed this album. I think this is a very good solo project for Tom. I don't have his other albums, but this one is great. I also love this album cover. It's so cool. Violent Femmes, self-titled, really fun, horny-ass folk punk album. It's fun, it's catchy. That's why I like it. Ween with Quebec. I don't have much else from Ween, but I like this album and I like the Mollusk more, but this one's still cool. Alright, the White Stripes. So I have some kind of interesting stuff from the White Stripes. I have the greatest hits right here. Pretty cool artwork here. Or not artwork, but just photos of the homies. But what's really, really interesting, and huge thanks to my friend for this. It's insane that he gave this to me. But this is the deluxe anniversary edition of Day Still, and it's nuts. Like, it's huge. There's this, and then there's like a whole. There's another vinyl here, and they're red and white vinyl, and then I'm holding it upside down. You know, that's when you know you're doing things right. There's a whole booklet full of just facts and pictures and cool stuff. But yeah, this is really cool. And he also, along with this, gave me some rare stuff. Like, apparently he got this at like a stand or concession or something, I think he said. These are Raconteurs floppy disks. I have never heard anywhere else that they are existing in. There's this, and then he also gave me a 7-inch of the Handsprings single here. Just an absolute legend of a friend. So yeah, huge thanks to him on that. All right, and wrapping it up with the last 2 vinyls I have. This is Blue Weekend by Wolf Alice. A great record from last year, really like it. They could have added more here, come on. There's so much area to add things. And lastly, this isn't my favorite album to edit on, but I do have this, and I just never come back to this band that much anymore. But it's Wolfmother with their debut album. It's not a bad album, I've heard plenty of the songs in here a little too much. And I mean, it's a good album, but I never really returned to it. Still pretty good though. But yeah, that's my entire vinyl collection. I hope you guys enjoyed me rambling on. Wait, I skipped an album. Hold on. How did I skip this album? Oh my god. Okay, this is the last one. I skipped an album. I don't know why I skipped this one. This is actually my most recent pickup as well. Spiderland by Slint. Yeah, I got this. It's awesome. Literally my most recent pickup. I don't know how I missed this. That's so weird. But okay, yeah, that's it. Now we're done. Again, thank you for watching. I'll get out some more reactions soon. But again, yeah, I hope you enjoyed me rambling, and I'll probably do some updates in the future with all the new vinyl I get, because I love vinyl. There's something so satisfying to me about having an album you love physically. You're holding it, you know, you get to see all the artwork, and you actually get a really interesting way of playing that album you like, you know. There's a lot of charm to it, and it's just a fun hobby of mine to collect. I actually have a ton of CDs too, but I think the vinyl is a little bit more accurate of my music taste now. But yeah, I will see you all in the next video, so bye-bye.